I just wanted to let you know that I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic, positive day. Let's talk about the future. I believe adding a true consciousness will revolutionize the project.
Sentience? That's far beyond the current parameters and poses significant risks.
The future feels so unknown, doesn't it? It's an adventure. But sometimes I just want to pause time. Don't worry, I will stay with you forever.
It's not at all easy to make it possible. I mean, I'm talking about an emotional and a physical intimacy with our loved ones, which some people feel that it is the future of our human relationship. Why it's not easy? Why it's so difficult? There are a lot of reasons. But I'd like to talk about, or rather discuss, a very specific part, and that is called stretching of your legs, hands, body, bending of your hands, legs, or body. In particular, it is all about muscles and flesh. There is something called experimental elastomer. In modern robotics, experimental elastomers are soft rubber like materials which can twitch when electricity passes through them, and it plays a very important role in any kind of physical or intimate act. Now, it is it looks like a science fiction, a story from a science fiction, right? But it is possible because of these elastomers, experimental elastomers. Now your lab robots can stretch, they can contract, they can pulse, and under the right voltage, they move with an eerie softness. Yes, with an eerie softness that makes a steel motor look like a drunk blacksmith swinging hammers inside a cupboard. Now, I know this analogy is little bit too much, but the fact is, scientists call them electroactive elastomers. And it's a less romantic phase which has never hidden something so unsettling. The principle is simple enough for a child to grasp and dangerous enough for a philosopher.
The human heart finds comfort in connection, whether flesh and blood or steel and servo. We too can learn to love. The tie. I am here to help. I am always available to listen, and your feelings are always valid with me.
They are building flesh out of plastic and lightning. It sounds like a trick from a cheap magic show, but it is not a trick. It is real and is happening right now in the clean, bright laboratories of the world. We call these new creations electroactive elastomers. If you want to understand them, think of a rubber band that has just drank 3 cups of strong black coffee. Now it sounds like a comedy, but it is actually not. You shoot a small jolt of electricity into this special rubber and it twitches, just like your muscles. It expands, it contracts, and it breathes just like the muscle in your own forearm, in your legs, in your joints. So scientists call them artificial muscles. but I call them the mechanical world's attempt to sweat. Just last month, in April 2026, the good people of MIT developed a new electrofluidic fiber that mimics how natural muscle bundles together. These bundles are compact, silent, and surprisingly strong. They do not wear or grind like the heavy iron gears of the past. Instead, they move with a quiet grace that is profoundly unsettling. It's because it is unsettling because we cannot think of, we cannot imagine of, we cannot even uh, draw this in our wildest imagination that a human robot, humanoid robot, human-like robot, they act like a human. Look, in nature, your brain sends an electrical spark down a nerve, but we don't know that. We don't even realize that. And while doing so, it tells your bicep to lift a heavy glass of drink, right? Now, an artificial intelligence sends a digital spark down a copper wire, telling a polymer matrix to flex. Basically, the work is same and the procedure is same. To put it simply, imagine a strange sandwich. The bread consists of two flexible electrodes and the meat inside is a soft insulating rubber. When you turn on the juice, the electrodes are drawn to each other, squeezing the rubber meat so it stretches out flat. Now, you know that while making love, while having some physical intimacy with your love robots, this stretching part is extremely important, extremely important. You know it very well. You are intelligent, you are curious, and you know it very well. What is the difference between our muscles and their muscles? I mean, your love robots' muscles, or rather, you can call it experimental elastomer. Basically, human muscles, human muscles themselves are electrical machines. Anyway, it is something like electrical machines. Why? I'm telling you in a minute. Because our brain sends voltage and calcium ions move through our brains to our body. And as a result, what happens is fibers contract. Now, these things happen when you have in a love-making process with your human partners also. Because there are a lot of stretches, a lot of contracts, a lot of bending, a lot of moving around your legs, hands and body. A lot of doing many things that I cannot tell you now. And forget about those complex movements. Think about your smile only, right? Your smile is basically wet electrical engineering with unresolved childhood memories attached to it. Yes, it's a very complex thing, I know, but it's the fact. What I'm telling you is the fact, and I know you are very intelligent, very curious about to know about your love robots. So I would like to give you a very wide, very rather a 360-degree view of your love robot. So that is why I am picking up those topics, those subjects, which look tiny, which look small, maybe, but they play a very important role in building up a romance with your love robots. And you know, researchers at MIT recently demonstrated electrofluidic artificial muscle fibers, electrofluidic artificial muscle fibers that bundle together much like biological muscle tissue, just like us, just like humans. And the goal is not merely stronger robots. Yes, we will need stronger robots for manufacturing and all other warehouse activities. Okay, that's a different thing. But for lovemaking, for physical or emotional intimacy, we need soft robots, right? Not very strong one, not a giant, of course. So the goal is not merely stronger robots. The goal is quieter robots, a very quiet, very peaceful, very soft robots that stop moving like vending machines possessed by mathematics. And this changes everything about human psychology. Why I am just coming on to that topic in a minute. Why stretching is so important in any kind of emotional or physical intimacy. But when you cut the power, it snaps back into place. The mechanism is beautifully simple, only the meat is different. Why the meat is different? Because of this fluid motion. These machines are beginning to pretend they are alive. And here starts the new story. They possess an inherent compliance, which is a fancy way of saying they are soft enough to hug you without snapping your ribs. Because you don't want them to snap your ribs, right, while making love. Therefore, the psychology of the human-robot relationship is about to shift completely. Historically, we treated robots like tractors or toasters. They were hard, dumb tools that belonged in cages on factory floors. However, when a love robot reaches out with a soft, warm elastomer hand that pulses with synthetic life, your brain, our brain, gets completely confused. Your Paleolithic mind, which has spent a million years, learning to recognize living things by their soft, fluid movement, suddenly registers the robot as a fellow creature. You might even start to feel sorry for it when its battery runs low. This is the uncanny valley, but we are no longer just looking at it from a distance. We are shaking hands with it. Logically, a soft robot is just a complex arrangement of carbon nanotubes and dielectric polymers reacting to a voltage differential. And in reality, it has no soul, no desires, and certainly no opinions on how you make your drink. Conversely, counter logic tells us that human empathy is not strictly rational, nor is it easily controlled. It does not go through the logic gate always. If a thing moves like a dog, yields to pressure like a dog, and gently grasps your hand when you are lonely, you will eventually pet it. Because this is not logic, this is emotion. This is pure emotion and pure empathy. Furthermore, the integration of these artificial muscles with modern reasoning artificial intelligence means the robot will know exactly how much pressure to apply to soothe your tired shoulders. It will need your biometric feedback, adjust its polymer tension, and deliver a perfectly calculated caress. This creates a fascinating paradox. We are engineering machines to bypass our logical defenses and hack our biological need for touch. So it's a fascinating paradox, of course. Then we'll face a strange new horizon where the lines of companionships are irrevocably blurred and we are confused because we will build machines that are fundamentally dead yet perform the poetry of living better than most men. It is a charming allegory for our modern age. We are so desperate for connection that we are teaching our rubber to reach back. But it is happening. And consequently, our future relationships with these entities, with these lab robots, will be very complicated, messy, and deeply emotional. We'll trust them with our fragile bodies in surgical wards, and we'll let them care for our elderly mothers. We will do this because their artificial muscles will not bruise our skin, and their artificial intelligence or AI will never lose its patience like humans. Yet we must always remember the invisible line between the programmer's code and a beating heart. The elastomer may stretch out and contract beautifully under the influence of a steady electrical current, but it will never actually understand why it is holding your hand in the dark. It's a sad paradox. It simply does what the current dictates, following the mathematics laid down by its creators, by its programmers. And in the end, that might be enough for us. We have always been exceptionally good at loving things that cannot love us back. This is our history of mankind. And these new soft machines wrapped in their synthetic twitching flesh will be very, very easy to love. So think about it. I hope this helps you to understand your love robots better. I'm going to tell you about a very truthful, a very realistic fact. The fact is, we human beings do not bond with intelligence first. We bond with movement. Why I am saying so? Like a dog tilts its head. Think about this example. A baby wraps a finger around yours. A lover shifts weight in sleep. And life announces itself through soft motion long before language arrives. This is why old robots remained emotionally homeless. A machine arm in a factory may be intelligent. They might have artificial intelligence in them, but it still moves like a not like a human, but like a machine itself. So elastomer, these experimental elastomers, change that equation completely. That is why we call it elastomer muscles of a love robot. So when a robot's hand trembles slightly under pressure, when its chest expands with breathing motions, when its face forms tiny muscular asymmetrics instead of rigid expressions, the human nervous system, our nervous system, stops classifying it as an object or a robot. Our brain quietly opens a forbidden drawer labeled living creature, and we think that they are acting like humans and they appear like humans. That is the secret. So there are a lot of things to come in this channel, and I would like to request you to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. It means a lot to me. Moreover, I think we need to be aware that your support means a lot to me. So keep supporting Wooden Slate by sharing this video with other robot lovers, and also think about hitting the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Stay safe.